The Constitution. Brand new Fox News polls show congressional approval ratings near record lows. Just 17% of Americans approve of the job our elected officials are doing in Washington. So, with D.C. so divided, nothing is getting done. But our next guest says there could be another way, changing the Constitution without Congress. John Cogswell is the director of Campaign Constitution, and he's here to explain how. Good morning to you, John.
Good morning, Steve.
Okay, so how do you change the Constitution without Congress?
Well, there are two ways to change it. Article 5 of the Constitution permits Congress to make proposals, and it permits the states to ask Congress for a convention in order to make proposals.
So that's the way you're going to do it. You're going to try to get 2/3 of the states in this country to say, you know what, let's have a constitutional convention and figure out what we're going to do going forward.
Yes, Congress will never change the Constitution because they're too vested in all of the goodies that they're getting there.
Re-election.
Right, that's what they're interested in, is re-election, money, power, and all the pernicious consequences of those things instead of looking out for the best interests of the country.
Okay, so John, let's say that 2/3 of you're successful, you get 2/3 of the states to agree to this convention. What are you going to do?
Well, the business plan that we have adopted provides for a resolution that's couched in terminology relating to the Declaration of Independence. And these amendments, I have 9 proposed amendments with 44 clauses. The plan is to approve them in advance of asking Congress to do anything, so that one, we don't want to have anybody fooling with the First Amendment, the Bill of Rights,
right,
the balance of powers, and these types of things. What we're trying to do is diminish the incentives that currently exist that allow our elected representatives to seek money, power, recognition, and all the things. Leadership is the problem with America, and what we are trying to do is make minor changes in the Constitution in order to give incentives to obtain leaders who care about their country more than about their own re-election.
And I know you've got a long list of how to do that, but give me one way to get those leaders who will make some real changes.
Well, for one thing, Congress will no longer be able to exempt itself from laws that it imposes upon others. For another thing, they won't have their own special Medicare programs and special retirement programs. They're going to be like anybody else. Another one is a separate committee will decide what their pay is. They have to do their own thing for retirement just like everybody else.
You refer to these as process amendments. The part of the process, but you know, the little things add up to changing the big picture in Washington.
The basic incentive is that if you have these minor changes that I'm proposing, you're going to get people running for Congress that care about the best interests of the country, who have a willingness to sit down and work with each other, more harmony, more reverence for the process.
All right, John, I think you may have piqued some interest in some people. How do they find out more information? I know you got a book called Fix the System.
Yes, and I have a website called campaignconstitution.com, and all of the proposals are on the website, and you can go in there and vote on them. And this is why we need the people to do it. And I should say this, out of the 44 proposals that we have, 31 of them thus far have received over 90% approval. 9 of them are in the 80%,
wow,
3 in the 70s, and only 1 in the 60s.
Well, we know that Washington is busted, and we got to do something. All right,
sure is.
John Cogswell, real pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me
us today from Colorado.